Hello and welcome to today's webinar, introducing Contrast's new free developer security tool, CodeSec. I'm Jacob Lukowitz, multimedia editor of SD Times. Before we get started, I have a couple of quick housekeeping announcements. First, this webinar will be recorded and available on demand through the sdtimes.com website about 24 hours after the event. Secondly, if at any time you have questions about or during the presentation, you may submit them using the chat. Now moving on to today's webinar topic. As the need for code to be deployed faster grows every year, code scanning has become a great part of the developer role. As such, dev teams need a simple to integrate security tool that allows them to secure code quickly and accurately without disrupting their workflow. That is why Contrast is introducing its new free developer security tool, CodeSec, that brings the fastest and most accurate scanner in the market to developers at no cost. Our speakers today are Pauline Logan, Product Manager at Contrast Security, and Orlando Villanueva, Product Marketing Manager at Contrast Security. To get things started, I'll turn it over to you, Orlando.
Thank you, Jacob. So to get started, I wanted to actually just do a quick presentation on what CodeSec by Contrast, our new developer security tool, is. Can you guys see my screen? Pauline or...
Yeah, we can see it there.
Gotcha, thanks. Okay. So to start, I wanted to talk about the challenges that developers are facing today. Now, we have over 27 million developers across the world that are understanding the need to accelerate security tools earlier in their development practices. In a 2021 GitLab survey alone, 70% of security experts are starting to report that their dev teams are starting to utilize some sort of security tool earlier in their process. However, while many large organizations have security teams tasked with improving code security, the individual developer still has to choose between antiquated enterprise tools that often lack a UI functionality and don't integrate well with their workflow, to new developer-centric tools that offer seamless integration into their existing day-to-day role. But at the end of the day, these other developer-centric tools can miss several exploitable vulnerabilities. They can create a false sense of security, leading to a lot of friction between the developer and the AppSec team in charge of reviewing the code that's being pushed through. And at the end of the day, these developer-centric tools are so focused on the developer experience that they fail to scale. It makes it difficult for them to scale from an individual developer to an enterprise-level solution that can cater to additional personas beyond the developer and into the AppSec and additional leadership personas that need to be involved in the security posture of a company. That's why Contrast decided to create a CodeSec, which brings the fastest and most accurate scanner in the market right now to developers for free. To start with, the CodeSec really delivers a seamless start-to-finish process where starting up, you can sign up and get started, as you'll see in the demo, with your existing GitHub or Google account. Once you're in the tool, you have access to our fastest and most accurate scanner, which delivers up to 10 times faster scan rates and has been recognized by OWASP as the fastest and most accurate SaaS scanner for Java in the market. After you've done your scan, you'll get immediate and actionable results that find up to 70% more critical vulnerabilities and get actionable remediation guidance with 6 times more true positives in seconds. So how is CodeSec able to do this? Well, CodeSec really provides the same scanning engines that are used in our enterprise-level solution, which is Contrast Security Platform, and it's just packaged in a simple command line interface, or CLI. So for single developer use. So within this tool, within your terminal, every developer can get access to our enterprise industry-leading SaaS scanner, which allows you to secure code in Java, JavaScript, and .NET. In our CodeSec serverless functionality, which allows you to secure your serverless environments in AWS Lambda functions for Java and Python. Additionally, starting next week, August 3rd, we will also get developers will also get access to our CodeSec SCA functionality, which will allow you to secure open source code and create SBOMs or software bill of materials to continuously secure your supply chain. But more on that towards the end of this presentation. To start, I also wanted to transition into our metrics, which for CodeSec, as part of the differentiator, our speed is the number one speed that you'll get right now in the market. From a minutes to scan in web code applications, you'll see that compared to other legacy tools like AppScan, Veracode, Checkmarx, and Fortify, CodeSec scan capability is able to deliver 3 times faster speeds than HCL app scan, 12 times faster speed than Veracode, 13 times faster speed than checkmarks, and 15 times faster speed than Fortify. And again, this one is based on a minutes to scan for web code Java. When it comes to .NET applications, CodeSec speed is yielded the same result, under a minute. And in this example, we actually increased the testing to include Sneak and CodeQL. But the result came in the same, hands down, fastest and most accurate scanner, full stop. With Sneak being a little bit closer to us, yielding a +1 over a minute in minutes to scan, while CodeSec scan still kept its under a minute scanning results. When it comes to difference in accuracy, CodeSec finds up to 63% more exploitable vulnerabilities than the other developer-friendly competitors. This was an example of vulnerabilities found by severity in a web code application for Java. And here we compared it against GitHub, CodeQL, Sneak, and SonarQube. And we're able to determine that from a high to medium vulnerabilities found, CodeSec scan found 32% more vulnerabilities than GitHub, 48% more vulnerabilities than Sneak, and 63% more vulnerabilities than SonarQube. Lastly, from another accuracy standpoint on .NET applications, we deep dive more of CodeSec scan's capability versus Sneak, and we're able to determine that from a critical to high, CodeSec scan was able to identify up to 70% more critical high vulnerabilities than Sneak, and overall CodeSec scanning capabilities are able to find up to 50% more vulnerabilities in total than Sneak. Again, really to show that at the end of the day, integration is important, and you do get this with this tool, but we also get the added bonus of speed and accuracy, which can alleviate a lot of the friction that comes from making sure that you're pushing your code with confidence. And lastly, from a CodeSec versus other developer focused tools, this is a side-by-side comparison with Sneak and GitHub, and we were able to do a comparison of scans on a Sentinel dashboard, which is an open source application from Alibaba, really just to show how can this tool really compare on a actual example of a day-to-day task that a developer might run into. We benchmarked the scoring on scan speed, accuracy score, and true positive ranking, and found that CodeSec was able to yield under a minute scan rate, Sneak was over a minute, and GitHub CodeQL was over 2 minutes. From an accuracy scoring, CodeSec yielded a 95% threshold, while Sneak was 15% and GitHub was 10. And from a true positive ranking, we came in first. CodeSec, Sneak was in second, and GitHub was in third. Overall, just to show that the capabilities of this product is by far superior, and it's a free tool, so nothing really to lose there. Lastly, I wanted to also mention our new feature for code that's coming out this August 3rd, CodeSec SCA. Why is SCA important? Well, according to the Linux Foundation, 90% of the open source software of the code being built today, 90% of it is being built through open source code. And according to Gartner, 70% of that code has some flaw that stems from open source security. That's why CodeSec is launching a new SCA feature starting next week, which allows you to secure vulnerable libraries in your open source code with speed and accuracy, but at the same time also allows you to create a standardized software bill of material, or SBOM, that allows you to really manage risk and supply chain with ease, which is a very seamless free offering that very few SCA tools right now in the market, free SCA tools in the market, are able to provide. And this tool will also offer supported languages in Java, JavaScript, Python, Ruby, Go, PHP, and .NET. Lastly, to close out before we move into the actual demo portion, I wanted to also mention what the free capabilities limitations are. Obviously, you have access to our SCA functionality, our SAST, and our serverless, but there are some caveats. From our SCA standpoint, it is unlimited scans, so there's no limit to the amount of scans you can do across up to 50 projects per month. On a monthly, the same thing for the scanning solution. You can do SAS scans for 200 tests per month, and our serverless security is unlimited testing, but there is no concurrency. So we base these on what the developer does on a month-to-month basis. So there shouldn't be any issue with these, but these are some of the limitations that the tool does provide. And with that, I am close. I'll pass it over to Pauline for the demo.
Great, thank you. I'll start with sharing my screen. So hi everyone, I'm now going to take you through how to get started with CodeSec and show how easy it is to scan a file or a Lambda function, get results and start securing your code. So as Orlando had mentioned, we have focused on making a very easy developer experience. Some security scanners can take a long time to run, and this doesn't fit with the way code gets written. Nobody wants to write code, start a scan, and get results many hours later. So at contrast, we want security to be part of the process that developers use every day as they write and review code. So we have focused on creating a scanner that is fast to run and really accurate. So with that in mind, one of our goals with our initial launch was to enable developers to start securing code in less than 5 minutes. That's 5 minutes to install, sign up, scan your code, and get results back. So I want to point everyone to our developer website, and we will share the link to the page that I'm currently showing. And this essentially takes you through how to get started with CodeSec. So the first step is to install. For Mac developers, we have Homebrew. Developers running NPM, or running Node.js, we have NPM. And on Artifactory, we make available the binaries for Linux, Mac, and Windows. We include the instructions on our Getting Started guide that you need to enter in your own terminal to get the product installed. So it's very simple, very straightforward, and easy to do. So I've already installed CodeSec, so I'm going to start the demo today from step 2, and that's the authentication. So once I've installed, I need to go to the terminal and start the authentication process. So I've just copied this contrast auth command, and now I'm going to switch across to the terminal. So as soon as you enter that command, you will be taken to a browser window, and that will give you the options for how you want to sign up to CodeSec. So you can sign up either using your GitHub or Google account. If you want to opt in to hear about new releases, get some swag, you can also do that as part of the sign up process. I've already signed up, so I probably won't get taken to the screen to authorize my GitHub account, but for everybody else on the webinar today, when you're signing up, you will be brought to either GitHub or Gmail in order to sign that up. And that's going to run through the authentication. Oh, looks like I have a connection problem. Hopefully that won't interfere with the rest of the demo. Okay, so I will go back to the terminal window to run the authentication. Okay, so my authentication is complete, and now I want to run CodeSec. So let me start just by showing you the commands that are available. So by running contrast help, you can see the different options that are available. A small number of commands that we have. I started with running that auth command. The next I'm going to show you is how to run scan, and that's how to perform the static analysis on your code. So to run scan, I simply enter the contrast scan command. And what that's going to do is to search for a suitable file within my directory. And it's found that I have a Java application. So that has been detected and it's been uploaded to our scan engine to scan and return the results. That file is encrypted during upload and will be deleted as soon as that scan is completed. So you can see that that scan has started, and while that's running, I'll just show you some of the other options that are available for scan. So you can access further help just by entering contrast scan and the help parameter. You can see here that we have a number of prerequisites. So today we support Java, JavaScript, and .NET. I had seen a question that appeared in the chat about Ruby. So we currently don't have Ruby support for the static analysis, but we are extending the languages that we support, and that will increase before the end of the year. So to scan Java, you need a jar or a WAR file. For JavaScript, you can either scan a JS file or create a zip with all of the JavaScript files contained within that and upload that for analysis. Or alternatively, we also support .NET. And again, you can scan either an exe or a zip or .NET. There's a number of additional options that are available when you're running scan. As you can see from the demo that I had run, I just ran the default contrast scan command. If you are including scan, as part of your automation, you may want to use some of the additional parameters to override that file auto detection, but it's not necessary. One thing I do want to point out to everybody is that we do have this option to save a file, and what that will do is to save the Sarif file whenever you run the scan. So Sarif is an industry standard format for the output of the static analysis tools. So let's go back to look at the results from my scan. You can see there that the scan took just 48 seconds to complete. And in that jar that I scanned, there was one critical vulnerability that was found. So the output within the terminal window explains to me what type of issue was found, whereabouts that was found in my code. So I can see both the class and the method where that vulnerability was located. I can see that that was called from this particular function here, and where the vulnerability exists. So I know where I need to actually fix that within my code. For this example today, I have a critical injection vulnerability related to a Hibernate query. And we have added new guidance to the output in CodeSec, really optimized for the command line experience. And this explains to me, what issue has been found. And I also have some advice here on what I need to do to be able to remove that vulnerability. Today, we include a link to some further guidance. So this is pointing developers to OWASP for some more information about that type of vulnerability, but we will be adding new content to our developer website in August, and that will be a lot more detail on the different vulnerabilities for the various languages that we support, and give much more detailed information to developers that are running CodeSec. So that's how you use CodeSec to run a scan, and that's performed a static analysis of my Java application. The next command that I want to show you today is our Lambda command. So I'll just switch across to another terminal window. And the Lambda command is contrast serverless product. So just loading help again. And Lambda, this is the command that I'm going to demonstrate. And that's going to scan a function that I have running on my AWS account. So there are some prerequisites that you need to set up to scan a Lambda function. If you are a Lambda developer and you use the AWS CLI, you will have the environment already configured on your system. But if not, we give you the information on what you need to set up again within the help text. So the prerequisites just tell me what I need to have set up in my environment to be able to run that Lambda scan. And now I'm going to run that. So the call I need to make to run a Lambda scan is just Lambda and then provide the function name. I've given the override of the region that my Lambda has been set up, but that is an optional parameter and isn't required for the purposes of running that command. So you can see that as soon as that's been entered, it's already started processing, and I can see all of that output being returned within the window. So fetching the configuration and policies and sending that information to contrast. So the scan has been requested. I can see that that scan has started and getting the results now. So you can see also with the Lambda functionality that it is very quick to use. If you aren't aware about the functions that are available, there was another option that you can use to be able to list those. So that has completed, and let me walk you through what that has returned. So I have two vulnerabilities that have been found within my Lambda function. The first relates to a least privilege violation. So I have the details returned within the terminal telling me exactly what has been found there. And how does our Lambda scanner do that? It looks at the code within my Lambda function, looks at the API calls that are being made there, and uses that to determine what permissions are actually required in order to run that. So in this case, it's identified the fact that I have an overly permissive configuration set up, and it's told me the issues that's found. But in addition to highlighting the fact that I have that issue, Contrast has also provided this recommendation. So I could replace the policy with the one that's been given here. And what I can do is to copy that and update that within my code. So not only can you use Lambda to scan those Lambda functions and find where you have security vulnerabilities, but the CodeSec will also give you this output so that you know exactly, well, what change do I need to make. So it really saves developers time, as they don't need to go and start researching the different options and know how to make that update within the product. And secondly, the second output that has been found by the Lambda command is this vulnerability related to a dependency that I'm using. So I'm using Django, which is a vulnerable version. There are 11 known CVEs within that version of Django. I could see the details of what those CVEs are, and I also have a recommendation for what version of Django I should update to. In this, it's telling me about the latest version. So by running the Lambda command within CodeSec, not only am I getting the results from the security vulnerabilities that are found within that function, but I'm also getting that information on what vulnerabilities exist within my dependencies. So I don't need to run multiple tools to be able to see the security vulnerabilities in the custom code I've written on my serverless functions, and then something else to look at the open source libraries. All of that information, as you can see, contained within the one output. So that was everything that I had on the features that we currently support within CodeSec. As Orlando had mentioned at the start of the call, we are shortly about to release our SCA functionality. So that will be available next week, and that will be a third command that's available within CodeSec. You can run then the contrast audit command, and that will let you assess the vulnerabilities that are in the open source libraries. So if you're using any open source libraries within your code, you can now use CodeSec, not just for the static analysis and Lambda, but in addition to look at what vulnerabilities exist within those libraries. And for SCA, we will support that across all of the languages that we have on the Contrast platform. That will be Java, .NET, Ruby, Python, JavaScript, and PHP and Go. So a lot of coverage for SCA, and that will be available next week. So hopefully everybody has had the chance to look at the Getting Started guide that we have shared. What I would really invite everyone on today's webinar is to take 5 minutes and get signed up. If you have Lambda functions that you're running or some code that you want to test, please sign up and take 5 minutes and use CodeSec. So thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you, Pauline and Orlando, for the presentation. Now we'll have any of your questions answered. We have one question from the audience. What difference between CodeSec and Brakeman Scanner in Ruby? Or what is the difference between the two?
Yeah, so currently with CodeSec for Scan, we support Java, JavaScript, and .NET. We will be extending the coverage for the languages where we support the static analysis later this year, and Ruby will be part of the additional languages that we will support. So as we extend to those other languages, we will, compare with the other products that are on the market. But again, we will be focusing on trying to create a scanner and an experience that really is focused on the speed and the accuracy. So that's certainly a scanner that we can look at as we're doing that analysis.
Great. Another question is, what are the limits to this free tool, if there are any?
So with the static analysis running that contrast scan command, the limitation there is a maximum of 200 scans per month. But we believe that should be enough to cover most developers. So you can use that on as many projects as you want and run up to 200 scans each month. That will give you the output that I've shown today. So identifying what the vulnerabilities are, given that information on what to do to fix them. On the Lambda side, we have no limitation on the number of scans that you can run. The limitation that we have there is that you can't run concurrent scans. So a good opportunity for any developers on the call, if you're Java, JavaScript, .NET, or you're a Lambda developer, that you can try CodeSec and it won't cost you anything to sign up for that.
Great. And Michael from the audience is asking, is C++ on the roadmap?
It's not a language that we are focusing on this year, but it's certainly something that I can take back to the team that's working on Scan to look at, is that a language that we have requests for? And certainly in the short term, the languages that we have on the contrast platform, so the JavaScript, Node.js, PHP, Python, Ruby, Go, they're the languages that we are focusing on for 2022.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And are there any integrations to GitHub?
Yeah, so we have already got an integration, a GitHub action. You can use that today. It's already on the GitHub marketplace, and use that to run the scan command. We will follow up with a second action in August, and that can be used to run the audit command, so to get that SCA information. We're also looking at other integrations that we can provide. So introducing a GitHub app and looking at how we can bring the CodeSec experience into the IDE.
Mm-hmm. All right, looks like that's all the questions that we have for today. Again, that was Pauline Logan, Product Manager at Contrast Security, and Orlando Villanueva, Product Marketing Manager at Contrast Security. I'd also like to thank Contrast Security for sponsoring today's webinar, as well as the attendees for joining us. Hope everyone has a good one. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.